All right, well, welcome back to Think Digital Grow Rich. Glad you made it to the video. So again, I'll get straight to it. I'm going to use a game of Monopoly to illustrate my concept. This is the old school traditional Monopoly board, and we're going to compare that to an analog brick and mortar world, okay? So that world is crowded. If you look at the US market, less than 3% of the inventory is available, which means it's a seller's market. So what happens in a seller's market? Well, newbies come in, drive prices up, they don't know necessarily what they're doing. It means it requires more capital for less return. It's a crowded space. Again, every time you roll the dice, it's costing you. Now, in the analog world, the only way to collect rent is if you're physically there. In the digital world we live in, you're instantly 24/7, 365 global. Okay, just let that sink in for a second. Now, in the traditional game of Monopoly, so that's the analog real estate or brick and mortar, there's a new economy. There's a digital piece, an electronic banking system. Let me show you what it looks like. So as you can see, everything is bigger, faster. The car has become the limo, the boat has become the yacht, the dog has become the jet, and the boot has become the helicopter. Prices are up. It's not $400 for Boardwalk, it's $4 million for Times Square, okay? So it's bigger, faster, it's not train, it's airplanes. It's a different ballgame we operate in. Now, in that economy, everything operates on that. So this is gone. This is over. Paper is gone. It's a card that is being run on a terminal, okay? Everything is electronic and everything is moving away from money. Whoa, that's the point of being live. So everything is moving away from traditional money, everything is digital, all right? Now, the next thing is the dice are gold, everything has been pimped in a way. Now, on top of that board, those economy, there's another economy, which is the brand economy. So let's look at that. Now, it's not $4 million, it's $400 million. And the brands that are the blue is Beats by Dre, which was bought by Apple. And they didn't buy it for the headset, they bought it for the connect to the artist, so for the content. You've got Skype, $400 million. On the side here, let me see if you can see that. eBay and Ford. So eBay is a $300 million company that's less than 25 years old. Ford is also $300 million, but it's over a century old. So the game has changed. Now here's what's interesting. In the old school game, you have Boardwalk, which is $400. So I can buy Boardwalk for $400, and if someone lands on it, again, physical location, they have to be on it, I can earn $50 for my return. So for every $100 invested, about $12.50. Now, the only way to make more money in the analog brick and mortar world, aside from just holding on to the property, is building. So the building is $1,000 to build a hotel, and that yields $2,000 back. So for every $100 in, you double your money, and obviously there's appreciation because every time somebody lands on it, that's what you get. Now, in the digital world, I'm going to take the example of insurance.com. So insurance.com is a domain name that was registered in '94 for $100. Back then it was $100 a year, and then in '97 it dropped to $70 a year, you pay 2 years at a time, and in 2000 it dropped to $10. So I tallied that from '94 to 2010, it's a total of $365 in rent, I would say, to the registrar. And here's the thing, in 2010, insurance.com sold for $35.6 million. I want to let that sink in again. Again, this is just for the land, nothing built on it. So for every $100 invested, a $10 million return. Wow. Now, if we had a time machine, we would all go back and buy all those domains before everybody gets their hands on it. You go back to mid-90s and jump on it. So a quick thing, what's chance? Chance is nothing but timing. So I don't know, I used to play with my brother Monopoly a lot. So if I land on Boardwalk first, I buy it, I'm the owner. He lands on it second, he pays rent. What changed? Not a thing. Same place, same property, same place on the board. The only difference is when you landed on it. But picture this, a $400 Boardwalk, or 365 on insurance.com. But imagine you buy Boardwalk and somebody comes in and gives you $35.6 million for that property. Game over. Now, these were the days, and we need to find out in this new economy, where are the wins and how do I get there early? Think of it that way. Again, timing. Your Netflix in 1996 is not enough bandwidth. Your Netflix in 2011, you're too late to the game. So let's keep that in mind. Now, in this new economy, everything operates on one of these. Everything displays, it runs on a server, actually kind of like this. It's an old school one, not a blade. It's a server, and we'll talk about big data, not now, but I'll cover that later as well. But it operates on your laptop or desktop. Everything displays on your phone or your computer. And the new currency, the big bucks, is eyeballs. As many as you can get, as often as you can get them. That's the new value, okay? Now, everything has been redesigned. Everything is Web 2.0, it's been upgraded. And in that brand economy, brands compete for your attention. So let me clear this up for a second. So in this new economy, we have brands, and we have, different brands. One are purely e-commerce, though they went from digital to now conquering the analog brick and mortar world. Amazon is just so big, actually they just bought Whole Foods, so they went fully digital and now they're conquering the analog brick and mortar world. You have brick and mortar like Starbucks, and then you have digital like content and hardware like iTunes, or a mix of all of these. They all have an online presence, but it's a mix of the three. Now, in that new economy, all they're doing is that they're trying to capture your email. You've heard about the monies in the list. Well, what's a business? A business is two lists. One is a buyer file, and the other one is a lead file. Question is, how much are those buyer worth? What's their lifetime value? How many leads you have, and what do they convert into buyers, and what is that worth? So when you buy or sell a business, that's what you're buying, and of course the processes. Now, what's interesting is that in the old school economy, these were the least valuable properties. You kind of want these, you buy it, don't buy them. But in this new economy, they're actually the most valuable. These are residual income properties where you bring income on a regular basis, and it comes on your Visa, your MasterCard, your PayPal, your Bitcoin. These are the ones that, are the winners. These are the ones that allow you the freedom to set something up and have the freedom of time to, the internet lifestyle or laptop lifestyle, and that gives you the freedom while automating the processes. Now, what's interesting is that in the game of Monopoly, we all start with the exact same amount of money. Now, we both know that in the game of life, it just doesn't work the same, right? But here's your chance. With social media, it changes the whole game, because it's not about how much you have, it's about how fast you move. It's kind of that movie Far and Away, where they have to claim their land. All they have to do is be there first. So as long as you're willing to invest, be there first, knowing where to be, of course, is important, but then you're willing to do the work and hustle, then you can be, you're not limited anymore by how much money you have. You're limited by your creativity and your hustle. So that's the beauty of it. So in this new economy, what is it that I can build? Well, let's face it, that's not really the hard question. The hard question is just so much, is what is the right thing for me to build? So let's look at this for a second. So you could build a shopping cart, you could sell products online, you could build an app that saves time, or a software that saves time, maybe a particular field that there's a software that would be needed, that if you could build it and present it to people in the field, they would be excited about buying it. If you have content, you could publicize your content, put it on ClickBank, Udemy, JVZoo, and create a product. You could build a blog. Maybe you could figure out a way to digitize something that's analog. Quick thinking there, kind of like Square, they took a process where you had to go through an application and buy the terminal, and they took that whole process and made it seamless and captured all that value by presenting a solution that helped people to make it easy, right? Maybe you like movies or particular things, so you could write reviews about certain things and set up affiliate links to where you can get a commission on sales. So the reality is that there's just so much you can do, and that's the problem. It's an overload of information, right? So now that we've covered the what you can build, some of it to give you some ideas, let's talk about how things are built. Now let's take the idea of building a house in the traditional analog brick and mortar world. Well, you don't go out to Home Depot and start buying stuff, right? The first thing you do is you map out a plan, a blueprint. So you reach out and you get to an architect, and you get the architect to draw a plan. So after a series of questions, what's the neighborhood like? What do you like? How do you like your kitchen, your house, your bathroom, whatever it may be? And then once that session is done, then the architect is going to map out a blueprint for you to build the house. Now, whereas you build the house or not, you're still going to get a plan drawn out. And then from that stage, it's up to you to making that happen. But it all starts with a plan. You've heard the saying, if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. Well, that's so true, okay? So you start with a blueprint, but many times online it's difficult because you can't just pull the yellow pages or quick search for an architect, because it's different. So let's say, let me show you how it works. When you build in real life, here's how it works. So, all right, so once you got your blueprint design, what you're going to do is you're going to talk to a realtor, and that realtor is going to help you secure the land. Once you secure the land, you're going to talk to a lawyer who's going to help you wrap up the deal. And then once you've done that, you're going to speak to the architect that is going to draw the plans for you. So once that process is done, the next step is, if you decide to build, is you've got to get a builder. So in that case, you bring the builder on board, and the builder is going to bring his crew. His crew is going to be somebody to lay the concrete on the house. Then you're going to have a carpenter that's going to lay the framing of the house. Then you have a plumber that's going to put all the plumbing. You have an electrician that's going to set everything up. You have a graphic designer that's going to help out, or actually a designer that's going to help out lay the house. The roofer is going to come in. And then you have a landscaper that's going to come out, and so the landscaper is there, then you're going to start getting mail at that property. Now in that world, once that process is going, you have a construction area where you need to wear a hard hat, and you don't just walk into that area, especially if you're not part of it. Now here's the interesting thing. You can get a house built for you. It doesn't mean you have to be a carpenter, an electrician, a roofer, or any of that, but you can still get a house built for you. And I want you to keep that thought as you're thinking digital as well. So in the digital world, it's the same thing. You may start buying a domain, then you set up your legal, your privacy policy, your opt-in policies, or your disclaimers. Then once you've done that, you want to have a blueprint that you're going to build from and replicate. And then once you have that, then, well, there's several ways. So it's important to identify, where are you? Do you have enough resources that you can just pay somebody to build the house for you and be part of that process? Or do you need to be in it? And sometimes that's how you learn. Sometimes you go in and you don't know what you don't know, and that's how you figure things out. Sometimes if you really know what you have to do, and that's why a lot of people get bogged down, you get all those checklists for a launch, a product launch, or whatever it may be, and there's just so many of these, you just don't feel like you're going anywhere. And if you've never built one before, it's intimidating, it's just overwhelming, all right? So you need to find out where you fit. Are you the one commissioning? Are you the architect? Are you just on the real estate side? Are you good at designing? Are you good at being a carpenter? Whatever that may be. So once that blueprint is laid out, the next thing is you're going to bring a project manager that's going to handle the build of the project, right? And then he's going to bring somebody to build the concrete, which is going to be your programmer. And then instead of a carpenter, you're going to have a web developer that's going to map things out for you. Instead of a plumber, it's a system admin. Okay, then you have a electrician, which is going to be your host. You have a designer, which is going to be your graphic designer. We have a landscaper, which is going to be your optimization team. If you're building a funnel, you want to dial that in. You have a roofer, which is going to be your media buyer, keep bringing traffic in so you can grow your business. And then you're going to build an email list that you're going to cultivate, and then you're going to mail and grow. So now that we've covered the new digital landscape, the new currency, we've talked about what you can build, we've talked about the battle of the brands, we've talked about how things are built. The question is, what's the most important question is, who are we building for? All right, and I believe that's the most important question. So hang on, let me move that out of the way. I get a little nosy. Let's give it a second. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to grab this box, which is a safe deposit box. Again, the most important question is, who are we building for? So let me open this up and let's go through it together. So a few questions here is, actually, you know what, let me slide that over so you guys can really see that. It's important. So the question that we have is, who are we building for? All right? Who are you? Are you single or are you married? Are you retired or just a kid? And nothing wrong with that. As a matter of fact, kids, you're so freed up right now. Amazing world of opportunity. There's kids that are starting super early, that are very talented and able to grow. And here's the reason why. Let's say you're lucky enough to be in the valley. Well, you're not thinking about anything else but building an app. You see it, you grow, you're thinking unicorn, how can you grow that? Now, if you're a little older, you may not be comfortable with that. You may be more comfortable with, let's say, building an e-com product because you're familiar with the concept of buying and selling with a margin. So you can kind of assimilate that. And how can you be successful into something if you don't comprehend the concept? So sometimes it's not so much the learning as much as the unlearning. And that's huge, all right? So the next question is, what do you love and what do you hate? Now, it's easy to say, be passionate about something you love. Sometimes it's something you hate that triggers you, and there's passion there as well. So keep that in mind. The other thing is your brains. How are you wired? Do you grab stuff easy, or it takes you 3 days to figure out little things out? And then what have you tried, and how willing are you to try things? Okay, so you got to figure that out. The next step is, what kind of real estate are you into? Are you old school real estate? Are you familiar with traditional real estate? Or are you Web 2.0? Are you really keen on that? What does that look like? Okay. Now, the other thing is, what are you like? Some of you have emails, and some of you have email, but you hate checking it. You're more like the hashtag generation, your Twitter, your Instagram. And you got email, but you really don't like it. The other question is, what do you have to play with? Do you have $2 to your name? Do you have $10 to your name? Do you have $100 to play with? Or do you have $1 million to play with? What is it? What is your budget? And the other thing is, what's your goal? Like some of you may be super happy, say, look, if I had a little blog, make some extra money on the side, and that was somewhat automated, I would really dig this. So you'd be happy to settle for the dark brown. Some of you are like, screw this. I want all of it. I want the reds, I want the yellows, and I want the blues. I want the dark blues for me, and I want the railroad, all the railroad stations as well. So what is your goal? What are you trying to reach? How ambitious and how driven, how willing are you to accomplish? Okay. So the other question is, how are you wired? Now, some of you just come into a game and you're like, oh, I'll put one chip here, I'll put one chip there, I'll put one here, one there, one there, one there, one there, and I'll see if anything sticks. So you have no staying power. Others, you're like, look, I'm going to dominate this game right here, and I'm going to come with all my chip and stay until I dial this thing in. And once I dial the $10 table, I'm going to go to the $100 table, and I'm going to conquer the red. And once I've got that game dialed in, I'm going to get to the $1,000 table, and I'm going to stay the course until I figure that stuff out. So in other words, what's your staying power? all right? What are you gonna stay and fight for? And the other stuff is really finding out at the end of the day, the one thing that, you know, maybe you're here and you figuring stuff out, and you're trying to get stuff dialed in, and at the end of the day, you're really a peon in that game. But if you could dial this thing in to where you can figure out exactly what's the one thing that you, instead of being a peon, you could be a king, and that's the question, all right? So think of it as, let's say you're Tiger Woods, but you don't know that golf is your thing. Imagine the cost to you until you figure out that golf is the one thing that you stay with, okay? So how do you figure out what that thing is? Well, with questions. You ask yourself questions until you can narrow down what is the one thing that I can do better than anybody else. What is the one thing that instead of being a peon, I can be king? Now, once you figure out that one thing, then you can go crush it. Now, it's hard to say, well, go crush it when you don't know what it is you're supposed to be crushing. So if you can figure out what that is, you're in good hand. And from then, you can build a funnel online, figure out build a funnel. And then you can automate and outsource, so you can scale that up. And then you figure out how to drive traffic, how things are done. And then you map out a system, a no BS system, where you're operating and running a business. Now, you either living it, or you praying to live it. It's one or the other. You're either in or you're not. And some of you, you ask for a sign, oh help, I'm trying to figure this thing out. Well, you ask for a sign, maybe that's it right here, right now. So here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna give you a questionnaire, and initially I thought I was gonna just put it out and give it away for free. And then you know what I thought? Is that in doing that, I would actually do you a disservice. Why? Because if you have no commit into it, if you're not invested in it, chances are you're just going to download the thing, it's going to sit on your hard drive, and you're not going to do anything with it. So that means both you and I will have wasted our time. And I sincerely do not want that to happen. So here's why. Watch that clip.
Take it easy. Breathe in, breathe out. All right, I'm going to stand up, all right? Because I got bad knees. That's better. Okay, now listen, the three of us are gonna work this out, yeah? How? First things first, you're gonna put $1 in my pocket, both of you. You want attorney-client privilege, don't you? So that everything you say is strictly between us. I mean it. Put $1 in my pocket. Come on, make it official. Come on, do it. That's it, come on. Just $1. What? All right, now you, ski bum. Come on, give with $1. Go on. Be smart. What? Well, I got you 5. I'll take a 5. Come on already, come on. Be cool. Okay, you're now both officially represented by Saul Goodman and Associates. Your secrets are safe with me under threat of disbarment. All right? Take the ski mask off. I feel like I'm talking to the Weather Underground here.
So what I want you to do is invest in you through me. It's only $1, but that $1 is 100 cents, 100 times more likely that you will actually download it and go through it. And most importantly, let it go through you. Now let me tell you, those questions are hardcore. The first 10 questions, you're gonna wanna quit. You're gonna read through and say, wow, this is digging, this is cutting deep. But that's how you find out your starting point. So it's super, super important. So I really want you to take action on it. Once you go through the questionnaire, then I will give you the 7 to 7. And chances are you may already have one of those courses on your hard drive. So if you can go through that questionnaire and narrow down your focus, that's where the win is for you. Now, if you know anybody that is in the same spot where they're lost and they're trying to figure out their starting point to where they can be successful, share with them, and I'll see you in the next video. Ciao.